Exports of up to 3.6 million chickens will be stopped from June 1st until chicken prices and production stabilise, PM Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said, according to Bernama. The Cabinet agreed to this on Monday as a short-term measure for the ongoing chicken shortage. In addition, the government also agreed to create a national chicken buffer stock and to optimise cold storage facilities currently owned by the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industry and its agencies. It has also abolished approved permit for chicken, including whole chicken and chicken parts, so that importers can be allowed to provide more sources of supply and simplify the subsidy claim process by poultry producers. Also, as a short-term measure, it was also decided to add and recognise slaughterhouses abroad to increase production of poultry supply, the PM said in a statement. Ismail Sabri says the government is aware of reports on the existence of cartels controlling chicken prices and production among the larger companies. He adds that the Malaysian Competition Commission is investigating this and that if it is found that such an agreement is on the cards, the government will take legal action. Ismail Sabri said the government regrets and was disappointed with the actions of some companies who halted chicken production, which in turn resulted in a shortage of supply and price hikes. While the government has set a ceiling price of $8.90 per kilogram with a subsidy of 729.43 million provided, the PM says that there are several large companies who are not interested in applying for the subsidies and prefer market prices. So far, he says, only 50 million in subsidies have been paid to breeders, most of whom own small companies. Ismail Sabri said that legal action can be taken on this and that his administration will not compromise on any party that tries to jeopardise the lives of the people. Attorney General Tan Sri Idris Harun, who was also part of the cabinet meeting, has advised the government to apply the Control of Supplies Act 1961 if there were elements of hoarding, storing or sabotage on chicken supplies, adding that their licence can be revoked immediately. Baostep Plantations' net profit for the first quarter of FY22 surged to 435 million from 12 million a year ago due to higher palm product prices and improved fresh fruit bunch production. Revenue grew by 86% year-on-year to 324 million. As such, Baostep Plantations' Board of Directors declared a first interim dividend of 7.3 cents per share. The group attributed the significant increase in revenue and profitability to the rise in palm product prices, where the average CPO price surged by 61%. The planter adds that the improved FFB production from the success of the plantation's performance improvement program further complemented its performance. Group CEO Zainal Abidin Sharif said Baostep Plantations was encouraged by the bullish trend and encouraging crop production in the first quarter and therefore continue to focus on PPIP's initiative in line with the Reinventing Baostep strategy. The group expects CPO prices to remain strong for the rest of the second quarter in respect of the ongoing Ukraine-Russia conflict and the tightness of CPO production that would dampen the increasing demand of edible oil. It said the palm oil supply is expected to improve over the second half due to easing of labour shortages with the entry of foreign workers back into Malaysia, although it will be tempered by Indonesia lifting the ban on export of palm oil products. Sports Toto, formerly known as Berjaya Sports Toto, saw its net profit for the third quarter of FY22 skyrocket over 300% year-on-year to 79.6 million from 18.7 million due to higher results from its subsidiaries. Revenue for the quarter improved by 54% to 1.7 billion from 1.1 billion previously, as Toto also declared a third interim dividend of 2 cents per share. According to the group, the better numbers were driven by higher results reported at its principal unit, STM Lottery, as well as from HR Owen. STM reported a revenue growth of just over 70% despite a lower number of draws, mainly due to better sales from its lotto games, resulting from higher accumulated jackpot prizes, coupled with stronger sales during the festive period in February. In addition, business in the third quarter of FY21 was affected by the MCO, where all its outlets during that quarter were closed except for those in Sarawak. Going forward, as Malaysia transitions towards endemicity, the pace of overall economic growth is expected to accelerate, although that may be curtailed by geopolitical events. Even so, as Toto's directors remain cautiously optimistic that business will gradually recover given the resilient nature of the number forecast operator and that it will continue to lead in terms of market share. DSR Taiko is seeking listing by way of introduction on Bursa Malaysia's lead market for its entire issued share capital of 312.94 million shares at 30 cents each. The durian planter says it is doing so in order to enhance its corporate profile and enable DSR Taiko to tap into the equity market for future fundraising. It is scheduled for listing on June 27, 2022, subject to receipt of Bursa's approval for the exercise. In an information memorandum filed with Bursa based on its listing reference price and issued share capital as at the last practicable date, its market capitalization will be 93.88 million ringgit. DSR Taiko said proceeds of 25.75 million raised from the issuance of 85.84 million new shares at 30 cents apiece to 54 pre-listing investors prior to its proposed listing have been partially used as at the LPD. Among the pre-listing investors are parties related to the DSR Taiko co-founders Datuk Ng Lian Po and Ng So Kian that include Lian Po's wife Datin Lia Noi, his sister Ng Li Peng, So Kian's sister Ng Sok Leng and So Kian's brother-in-law TP Ho. For the financial year ended June 30th, 2020, DSR Taiko made a loss after taxation of 169,000 while revenue came in at 303,000 ringgit. The LAT widened to 473,000 in FY21 despite revenue improving to 1.17 million ringgit. The group said its revenue is mainly derived from the sale of fresh durians purchased from its suppliers, as well as the retail of demasking durian-based products, which it launched on March 15, 2021 to market its downstream durian-based durian products. The group plans to expand its durian plantations this year, conduct research and development and commercialization of new durian-based products, as well as introduce IoT solutions in its operations. In the medium term, it plans to expand its retail operations, including into the overseas market by 2024. Hexter Global reported its highest ever net profit for the first quarter of FY22 at 15.65 million, a 46% spike from a year ago thanks to higher revenue, margins and growth from its specialty chemicals businesses. The segment also helped Hexter to record its highest quarterly revenue ever of 153.6 million compared with 114.8 million posted previously. Executive Director Datuk Eddie Ong Chu Meng said the results reflects the company's ability to continue the momentum achieved in the previous financial year. Moving forward, he expects the group to continue to maintain its growth trajectory, driven mainly by the specialty chemicals segment. Separately, the group also announced its plan to acquire the entire share capital of Hexter Kimia's two wholly owned subsidiary companies, namely Hexter Kimia Australia and International Chemicals Engineering, in order to consolidate its foothold in the Australian and New Zealand oil and gas markets for 14.3 million ringgit cash. Ong says these acquisitions will enable Hexter to accelerate the expansion of its portfolio mix in respect of its chemical business to drive both growth and margins. The acquisition will be financed through internally generated funds and is expected to be earnings accretive to the group starting from the third quarter of FY22.